Hello everybody, my name is Steiner. I'm super happy to be here virtually. This is JSConf Japan and I'm, as I said, super excited. But yeah, it's one of those virtual events, so we're not really here together in person. We can't really see each other. This is a pre-recorded talk, so I don't really get any of the audience reactions. But nevertheless, I made hopefully the best out of it. So let's get cracking. For this, it's a virtual event, so we need a virtual badge that we can hang around our virtual necks. And here is mine. So you can see my screen. My name is Steiner, developer relations engineer at Google. You can find me on Twitter as Tomayak. And this is the official JSConf Japan logo. And you can see here in the background, this is the blob that I've taken from the JSConf website. And this is it. This was my talk. Thank you very much for coming. Thanks for being here. This was it. No, this was of course not it. There's a lot more. So let me get started. So why do I build a virtual badge? Well, the idea is I want to show you what you can do with a virtual badge. And this is a lot. So let me first very briefly talk you through this. So this is of course my badge, but let's make this the badge of one of our organizers. Yusuke Furukawa. So let's take his name, put it in here. And he is software engineer, I think. So let's just copy this and put it here as the role. And his Twitter handle is a little bit longer than mine, so I also copy this. Let's put it here. And now this is Yuzuki's badge. And that's it. This was now really the talk. No, this was of course still not it. I just wanted to show you what you can do with this. So you can see this is an editable thing. You can modify stuff. You can reset the badge, so you can turn this back into my badge, turn it into the initial state. And this is also an installable progressive web app. So if you click the install button here, you will see it asks you, do you want to install this app? You can see the name of this is hello, my name is. The URL JSConf Japan glitch.me. And it uses the icon that is just my avatar. And I can install this, and it takes a little while. And here we go. Now we have it as a standalone progressive web app. But actually, I won't use this quite yet. So let me quickly uninstall, because we will do some more stuff in the browser first. So let me actually go to the source code of this application. So you can see that's the app running right here. Actually, let me open it again as a tab, because that's a little easier to show you some of the things. We also will need developer tools. So let me open DevTools. Make it a little bigger. Actually, we have a lot of space here, so let's make it a lot bigger. Let me talk you through what this app does. So right now, you can see there's a couple of files. I'm here in the index.html, and you will see the things that you would probably have expected. So for example, here, there's a content editable span, which lets me put my name or Yuzuki's name, whatever. So this is right here. When I inspect this, you can see this is this content editable. So I can modify it, I can type, and make changes. We have the avatar, we have the role, we have the link. You can see the link is actually, well, it's a link, but if you mouse over it, you can see that, you can edit it. It's not really something you can click. When you inspect this, you can see, inspect, when I make changes here, it modifies the href of the link. So it's actually doing something with the link, but because it's content editable, it's a link that I can't really do much with yet. But we will make this more advanced in the next couple of minutes. So let me go back to here. You can see there's also a couple of hidden things, like there's a button that is still hidden. And now I want to show you one by one, by unhiding some of the hidden UI elements here, what we can do with this badge, and what is the connection to the title of this talk, which is something around working with files in 2021. So 2021 is, at least by the Western calendar, almost over, but nevertheless, it's still 2021, and there's a lot of things that you can do with files. So let me get started on some of them. As I said, it's an installable progressive web app, so of course this application has a service worker. You can see it's pretty short. It has a web app manifest. It's also pretty short. But both the service worker as well as the manifest are not really super important, so we'll very quickly only just glance over them. So you can see the typical install, activate, and fetch events here. Install is really just skip waiting. Activate is just client's claim and activating navigation preload if it is supported by the browser. And the fetch handle here is essentially just looking, do we have a preloaded response? And if so, we use it. If we don't have one, we go to the network. And in the worst case, we just catch and return the text offline. So you will see this is not very advanced as a progressive web app, but it does work. So if you go to here, if you go to the application tab and select service worker, and you decide to put this tab offline, and now you do a reload, you can see we get the offline message. So of course, in a real application, you would brand this with your logo and with your brand text and whatever, make this nice and look good. For this demo, it's really just enough to give me the install button that we need, because in the end, there will be some features where we will need an installable progressive web app. So that's that. You've briefly seen the manifest as well. So if you go there, you can see the name, the short name, the start URL, and so on. So really nothing exciting. The actual exciting part come a little bit later. So let me now make this app a little bit more advanced. For this, there's one main script that is the entry point. And the first couple of lines are really just DOM references. So I get references to all the elements in the DOM that I need. You can see some of the small things, like when I have an input event on the link, I change the link's href. That's what I've shown you before. There's the reset button that resets everything to the initial state. We have a function called blob to data URL that, well, returns a data URL when you give it a blob. Also not important. Not important yet. It will be needed in the future. We have a service worker that is in Navigator, and if this is the case, I register it. So that's pretty classic. And now we start to get interesting stuff. So here you can see there's a number of lines that are commented out for now. So now I want to show you one by one what each of these lines do. So first is feature detection. So you can see here if clipboard is in Navigator and if write text is in navigator.clipboard, then I import a file copy.txt. And if I now actually do this, you can see that my application reloads here, and now I do have a copy button. So if I press this, you can see the Twitter link here gets highlighted. And let's actually see if this has worked. So if I go to a new tab and then paste this here, you can see this is actually pasting the link to my Twitter. Woohoo, I've got a new notification. So let me go back, close this. So you can see it's a copy button. If I change something, so if I make this Yuzuki's badge again, so let me just take this from here, root it down, paste this here, and now copy this and open a new tab and paste in, you can see this is working. So this is a copy button. Not very exciting yet, but it will be the very first step, because I will show you more stuff that we will do with this application. But let's very briefly look at copy text and see what this actually does. So if I go there, you can see I get references to the button and to the link. So the button is, of course, the button here. And because this is a module, I can just call it button. It's the most generic name. I have the link, which is the Twitter link. So this is this link here. And up next, we unhide the button. So the button is no longer hidden. And we add an event listener. And on click, I do the following. I try catch, await navigator clipboard write text, and I write the link's href. And that's essentially it. So this is the new async clipboard API. So I can write content to the clipboard by calling navigator clipboard.write text, and then I give it just a reference to the text that I want to store in the clipboard. the next couple of lines here, this is really just for drawing the box. So the box that you get when you copy this. So it's not exciting, really just for making sure that the user knows what is going on. And you can see my production ready error handling strategy here, console error, and then I just log the error's name and the error message. So this is a demo. Of course, this is not a production ready error handling strategy, but it works for my case. So this was the copy button, but this is of course only the very beginning. So let's add more. So let's go back to script.js. Here we go. And let's do the next thing, which is show open file picker in window. If this is the case, I import a file called open.js. So if I go there now, you can see that, woohoo, now I have an image on my badge. So now it looks a little bit more friendly. I have my image here, but of course, if I wanted to make this Yuzuki's badge, I need to change that. So when I mouse over it, you can see I get a little hand. And if I click that, I get a dialog, and I can go to pictures, and I have prepared already Yuzuki's avatar image that I've taken from the Twitter account. So I can go here. Oh, now I have 3 notifications. Woohoo! I'm popular. Woohoo! So you can see here, this is Yuzuki's Twitter handle avatar. And you may have noticed the favicon has also changed. So if I reset the badge real quick, you can see that it's back to my avatar here. But if I use Yuzuki's Twitter handle or Twitter avatar, you can see that now it's Yuzuki's here and Yuzuki's image there. So what is going on here? I have opened a file from my local file system, and I have used it in the context of this application. So let's have a look at the file open.js. So you can see I get DOM references to the image and to the icon, which is, well, the fav icon here, link rel icon. I unhide the image so that it's visible, and then I attach a click listener on the image. And you can see this is also try catch. And now we have the thing that I did the feature detection for, show open file picker. So this gives me a true file picker. As you've seen, it's an asynchronous function, so you need to await it. And it returns an array, because typically if you open files, you can open one file or several files. In this case, I only need one file. So I just used the destructuring method here to destructure my response and only get one array element, the first array element back. And if you look at some of the parameters here, it's types that has an array of the types that I want to accept. And you can see here the description is image files, and the accept is image/star. And then I list a number of extensions like JPEG, WebP, PNG, and so on that I want to accept with this application. So this gives me back a file handle. And from this file handle, I can then get the actual file, which is also an async operation. So I need to I need to await the result. And then I have the file. And from this file, I can create an object URL, which is then the source variable that I can then assign to the image and to the icon. So indeed, if I open this and inspect, you can see that now this image has a blob URL. And if you go to the favicon, it's here, you can see it has the same blob URL that points to my image that I've taken from Yuzuki's Twitter account here. So this is this. And the cool thing is I can do stuff with this handle now. So I could, for example, store this handle in IndexedDB. And like this, when I open my application, I could then work with this particular handle and give people access to the file that they had opened before, so that you can imagine an editor of any kind of files, like an image editor. You could open an image, make your edits, save them, and then maybe close the app and go back to the app the next day. And you would still have a reference to the handle of the file that you worked on yesterday. And you could work with this and continue where you left off. So this is the handle that allows you to do all these amazing things, like store a reference to it in IndexedDB, and like this, continue where you left off. This is in a try catch block, so anything can always go wrong. For example, the user can, in the simplest case, just cancel the dialog. So if you go here and then cancel the dialog, this will mean that, well, the user didn't really want to open a file, but it has caused an abort error that I can then deal with. Okay, this was the file opening. So again, not super exciting yet, but I promise it will get more exciting pretty soon. So let me go here, uncomment the next line, and you can see this is again using the clipboard in Navigator feature detection, but this time I'm checking for write. Before I checked for, where was it here, write text, but now I'm checking for write in navigator.clipboard. And now, before I was checking for show open file picker, now I'm checking for show save file picker. And if I do this, I copy, I import a file called copy image. If I go there now, you can see that now next to my image, I have a copy button. So if I press this, I have copied probably the image. So let's test it. I open the preview app on my Mac, preview. And I don't want the file open dialog. I actually want file new from clipboard. So this is preview running, file new from clipboard. And you can see now I have my image here on the clipboard. So I've copied from a web application an image into the clipboard, into my macOS application preview here. So that's pretty cool. But let me actually show you, I don't need this. Let me show you that this works, of course, with different files. So if I go here now and I open Yuzuki's image again, I copy it, I go back to preview. Preview always defaults to opening a file. I don't want that. I say new from clipboard. You can see that now it's Yuzuki's image here on the clipboard. So I can copy images to the clipboard, which is pretty powerful because you can see already what this allows you to do. If I go back, let's have a look at the actual file that makes this possible. So copy image.js. If I go there, you can see DOM references to button and image. I unhide the button if show open file picker is in window, because else we don't even see the image, because this was my feature detection for showing the image in the first place. And then what do? We attach a DOM click listener for the button. Try catch the following statements. So first we fetch the image's source, which means we fetch the image. We get back a response, and from this response we then get the blob. So what this does is it takes this image here, fetches it, and then we copy it. We store it as a blob in this variable here, and this variable, which is a blob, can then be put to the clipboard. So we prepare a data variable that is an array with one clipboard item entry, and this clipboard item entry has an object that has the blob's type as the key, and then the blob as the actual value. We can then write this to the clipboard by calling navigator clipboard.write, and now we have it on the clipboard. And this is just the same code as before, and this time it's just drawing a circle. So if we copy this, it's not drawing a box like here, it's drawing a circle, but the logic is exactly the same. It's not exciting. We have error handling as before, production ready, and this is it. So with these essentially 3 lines, we have copied an image onto the clipboard. So an image that we then can open with preview or with, I don't know, Photoshop or whatever application you have installed on your computer. You can, of course, then make any changes that you want to it. It's actually just the image that you have copied. So let me go back to script.js and continue with something even more exciting. So now we have feature detection for show save file picker. And now we're obviously saving a file. So let's do this. So let me go here, and now you can see there's a little save button. So if I press this now, I can save my file, and you can see it's suggesting to be saved as tomiak.html, which is my Twitter handle here in pictures, because yeah, why not? This was the last folder that I had open. So let me save this file. Okay, let's check if this actually has worked. So I go to a new tab, I open a file, it's in my pictures folder, and it is right here. So if I open this now, you can see it's my badge, and now I can no longer edit this. So this is not editable, this is not editable. If I mouse over the image, there's no way to open the file picker. If I mouse over the link, it's now actually a link. So you can see it is just opening my Twitter. And if I view source on this, you can see everything is just one big massive HTML file. Everything is in there. You can see the images are inlined as data URLs. So this is actually just one big file, everything self-contained. And that's the save file. But of course there is more. So let me now make some changes. So a lot of people just call me Tom instead of Thomas. So let's make a change and save this. And oh, that's interesting. So you might have expected there would be a file save dialog, but there was none. So the more I click this, nothing happens. But let's actually go there and do a reload. And you can see it has actually taken my change. So there was no save dialog. I could just continue where I was, just like that. So I make changes. Let's edit it back. Thomas Steiner, back to the original one. I save it. I go here. I reload. And it's all there. But there's more. So if I go there, I can now actually reload the entire page. So let me do this. And now I make a change. And I call myself, I don't know, Yuzuke Steiner. Why not? We're mixing names here. So let's do this. And I save this now. And oh, now I do get something. So you can see now there's a prompt that tells me let site edit tomiak.html. JSConf-jp-glitch.me will be able to edit tomiak.html until you close all tabs for this site. That's of course a security thing because, well, reloading an application and still the application having access to a file is not something that most people would expect. So if I say yes, this is fine, you can see that now I get another additional icon here in my URL bar that says that this file can edit, so that this application can edit this file. I can remove the access, or I can just say, yes, this is fine. So let's see if it actually has worked. So I should be called Yuzuke Steiner now. So let me go here and reload. And I can see it has worked. I'm Yuzuke Steiner now officially. This has survived a reload of the page. So how does this work? The secret is I can show you this in IndexedDB. I now have a file system file handle that I have stored. So I talked about it in the very beginning, but now I've actually done it. I've stored a file reference to this file tomiak.html in IndexedDB. So you can see I'm using IDB key value store from Jake Archibald, and you can see the key is file, and here you can see file system file handle. Actually, on the console, you can see I have a global variable called business card here, and you can see it's essentially the same. It has a handle that points to this file that I also have on my IndexedDB. So whenever I make a change here, it's checking first the global variable. Do I have a reference to a file already? And if so, the system doesn't need to show a new badge. But of course, at one point, I want to start with the next badge. So I want to work with someone else's badge. So if I now reset, you can see my IndexedDB here shows that the data may be stale. So if I refresh, you can see that now actually this is gone. And if I look at my global variable, you can see that now it's undefined. So when I reset the badge, I forget my previously saved handle. So if I now make a change, whatever, Yuzuke Steiner again, like this, and I press save, now I get a regular file save dialog again. So now I've started a new file. I need to save to a new file, of course. So how does all of this work? Let's go to the file save.js and have a look. It's a little bit longer than the others, but it's also not super long. So first, what do I need? I need IDB key value, which is just a helper function here, or a helper library that helps me deal with IndexedDB. I have get, set, and delete. I import blob to data URL from script.js. You remember this from the very beginning. I have a couple of DOM references here, and I have my global variable business card, that is business card or just an empty object. And then I have a function that calls itself, so an IIFE, immediately invoked function expression that has business card handle, and it awaits whatever we get from IndexedDB by looking at the key file or undefined. Okay, we unhide the button, and then we have a click listener on the button here. We try catch a couple of lines here, so let me go through. So the first is about the suggested name, and for this I simply get my Twitter handle, the link href, and I add HTML or .html to it. So this is essentially just going here, checking the links href here, removing the first part, and I only use Tomayak in this case, and then add .html. This will be my suggested name. The handle is either what I have on my global variable, so window business card handle, or if there is nothing, so if this is undefined, I will await window show save file picker this time. And now you can see it has a suggested name, it has different types, and the types are an array. And in this case, I am using HTML document as the description, and I accept only one thing, which is text HTML with the ending .html. There's a new thing called exclude accept all option. So let me show you what this does. If I quickly open the image again, you can see that in the image case, I can click options here, and there's image files, and I can also select all files. In the case of images, this might make sense because maybe I have a super old bitmap image that technically my application can deal with, but it was not maybe listed in my array of detected or accepted rather file extensions here. So if you look here, there was no .bmp, but for example, I could still accept this if it was not listed. And if image/star would not match, depends on the operating system if this matches or not. But let me go back to here. So now I say exclude accept all option true. So the difference is if I go here, you can now see that there's no way that I can change this to something else. It will always be HTML. I can, of course, manually override it here, but I can just select from here in options a different file type, because in my case, this application only supports HTML export, which you have seen here. Okay, so let's go back. I obtain the blob as before. I fetch the image's source, get a response, from the response get the blob. I convert this blob into a data URL, and then I just fetch the CSS. So this application pulls in dynamically style.css. I fetch this at this stage here. I fetch the style.css, get the response, and now I get the text. So now I have the CSS text here. And then I just create manually my HTML. So I create a style. I take the outer HTML of main, remove all the buttons. So this is horrible code because I'm parsing HTML strings with regular expressions, which is not something that you should do, but in my case, it just works. So I can remove the button here. I'm removing the content editable attributes so that my end result here is no longer content editable. So this is just a regular paragraph. It's not content editable anymore. And I remove all my sources and replace them with the data URLs that I've created here. So if you go to here and look at the image, you can see that now the image is a data URL in the saved case. Okay, so that's that. And with my handle that I have obtained from the show save file picker function or from the global variable, so this handle here, I can then create a writable stream, which is called writable here, async operation, so I need to await it. And then I write into this async, in this writable stream, I write my HTML file. And once everything is written, I close the stream. So then everything is saved, everything is in this file. And I set my global variable to the handle that I obtained before, and also set the file key in my indexed database to handle. And everything that's left now is a couple more convenience functions. So you can see, for example, here, I have a key down event listener. So if there's the S key pressed and if there is the meta key pressed, so on my Mac, this would be Command and S together, I prevent the default. What would be the default? Well, the default would be file save. So you can see this is the default in Chrome. If I press Command S, by default, it would save the page, but I don't want that in this case. What I want is I want to save my application. So if I go here and press Command S on my Mac now, you can see that this gets highlighted. So the button got briefly highlighted, and I open here the dialog that you've seen before. So let's do it again. Pay attention to this button here. I press Command S. There's this little orange line that is drawn around it. So you can see why, because now the user knows that Command S has triggered this action. So this has just programmatically clicked the button, and this code is the code that draws the box around the button. And all that's left is then connecting the reset button event listener to reset my handle. So in my global variable, I forget the handle, and in my index database, I delete the file so that when someone resets the badge, everything gets reset to the initial state, and we forget all the file handles that we had. So if I go here now, it's undefined as it should be. And of course, IndexedDB is also empty now. So you can see if I refresh, there's nothing in there. So it's deleted. So this is saving. And you have seen how powerful this is. You have an application that can open a file. You can have this application make any kind of modifications to the file. You can save them back. You can use a Command S keyboard shortcut. So I can really make this very natural. So you make edits, you press Command S, and it saves. You make some further edits, you press Command S, it saves. Or you can just simply reload the entire application, and if the user wishes so, you still have access to the file handle from before, so you can directly continue where you were editing before. Whoa, so that's pretty cool. So the next thing is feature detection for get as file system handle in the data transfer item prototype. So what this does is it allows you to do drag and drop. I'm importing a file called drag, but before I show you the source code, let's quickly see what has happened here. So you can now see there's a footer that tells, it's pretty small, but it tells me that now I can drag an image onto this application. So if I go there now and I go to pictures and I take Yuzuki's image, you can see whenever I am over the drop zone, there's this little box, so I drop it. And now you can see this application now has access to this file. I have dragged and dropped this file right onto the application. It also has updated the fav icon. So let me show you what this does and how it works. So there's a file drag, here we go. We get DOM references to a couple of elements here. We unhide the footer and the image. We save the styling of the document element. So this is essentially just making sure that we have this default view, and whenever we drop something over the drop zone, as I've done now, you can see there's this orange box that is drawn. So this is the before state. And then we have a couple of events. We have drag enter, we have drag leave, we have drag over, which are not very important in this case. All they do is here that I draw this box so that the user sees when I'm in the drag zone and when I'm not in the drag zone. So when I leave the drag zone, I restore the outline to the view how it was before. And the interesting bit is then here, when I drop something, I prevent the default. So I don't want to open the image in the tab. I want to do something with this image. So first I reset my styling so that there's no box anymore, so that the box disappears. And then I go over my data transfer items one by one, and I check if the item's kind is a file. If it's a file, I can then, with this function that I've feature detected for get as file system handle, I can get the handle and from this handle do another check, which is for kind. And I again check if the handle is of kind file. So that's a little bit confusing here, because I did check this before, but the difference here is this is checking the item, and the item can be a file or a directory, so I don't know this. The API tells me it's a file even if it's a directory. So to find if it's a directory or a file, I need to actually check the handle. So if the handle's kind is file, I can then get the file with getFile, async operation, so I await it, and now I have the file. And from this file, I can then check the type and see if the type of this file starts with image slash, which means my application can most probably deal with it. So I get an object URL from this file, which gives me a source. And you have seen this code before in a similar shape. I set the image and the icon to the object blob URL that I've obtained before. And this is just drawing the box that is around the image so that the user sees that the image has been dropped. And if I go there now and you inspect, you can see that it's a blob URL as I have promised. Okay, let me go back. And now the important thing here is right here we need to return, because else if there were more things on the data transfer item list or items list, I don't really need them. So I just return the moment I found something that I can deal with in my application. So one little thing that you may not notice is this handle here. This is the same kind of handle as we have seen before in the file save method. If I wanted to, I could now, where's drag? Here's drag. I could now store this in IndexedDB, and you can see where this is going. If I have an image on my Finder, I can drag and drop this to the application, and like that, I have a handle to this file. So if this were, say, an image editor, I could now make changes to this image and write directly, save it to the originally dragged image. So that's super powerful here, because here we get the true file handle. So we can store this, as I said, to IndexedDB, and we have access to the file even after reloading the application if we want to. So that's pretty powerful. Okay, a couple more things. Now I check for clipboard data in clipboard event prototype, and I check for show save file picker in window. If all of this is the case, I import an application, a file called paste.js. What has happened here? So let's reset the badge. Let's reload the application. Sorry for that. And let me now go to my Finder. If I'm here, I can now copy this image. So it's on my clipboard now. And I can go there, and now I can say I want to... oh, it's not in the right-click menu, it's here. In the top menu, I want to paste it. And pay attention what's happening. Now I've pasted this image right into the application. So I can paste an image from the Finder into the application. Let's reset again. Let's reload to really have a fresh state. I can, of course, also do the following. I can copy this image. So copy. And now I can press Command V to on my keyboard to paste the image. So if I do this now, you can see this also works with the keyboard shortcut. So I've pasted a file from the Finder right into this application. So what is happening here? If I look at paste, you can see what's happening. Get DOM references to the image and the icon. I attach a listener for the paste event at the document level. Then I prevent the default because I don't want the default handling to kick in. And then I check, do I even have on my clipboard data, do I have files that are, do I have files? So is the length of this greater than 0? If it's not the case, I return. But if it is the case, so if I have files, I get the first one. And now I have the first file here on my variable called file. I do the same thing that I did before. I check if the type starts with image. I create a blob URL here. I set the image and the icon to this blob URL. And then I just draw this little box, or in this case it's a circle, around the avatar image so that the user sees what is happening. And then here I return as well. So I want to just leave early. So you can see I'm going through only just here this one file. But yeah, I was I could in theory iterate over these files, but here I'm actually just getting one. So here I'm returning the function, and that's it. So if I show you the source, you can see that this is a blob URL as expected. So now this is how you can copy a file right from the Finder to the application. The only difference is at this stage, you get the file, you get the actual file from the clipboard. You don't get a handle to the file. In the future, hopefully you will get, but now you get the actual file, which means you can get the data. You can't get a handle to it. So that's the difference to the drag operation where you get the handle from which you can get the file. Here you get the file directly. So that's a small little difference. Okay, let's go here. There's one more thing that I can show you on desktop, which is feature detection for launch queue in window. If this is the case, I import a file called file.js. So let's see what's happening here. If I open this application now I need to actually install the application. Let me close DevTools first. So I install the application now. Now it's installed. I have it here on my desktop. But let me actually close it again because I want to show you what I can do now. So I close the application. And now I go in my Finder to the Pictures folder. And I right-click Yuzuki's picture. And I say right-click, open with. And now you can see that I all of a sudden have hello, my name is as one of the applications that can handle this image file. So it's pretty small, but you can maybe see it. Hello, my name is listed here. This is the name of my progressive web app. And I can say I want to open this. And now you can see there's a prompt that asks me, does this application or should this application be able to open the file Yuzuki Furukawa PNG? And I can say, yes, I want this, and I want this all the time, so don't ask again. I can now allow this and pay attention to the avatar section here. If I say allow, you can see now Yuzuki's image has landed right here in this application. If I now close the application again and do the same again, so open with hello, my name is, you can see that now it starts directly, so there's no prompt because now my application has been allowed to handle files. So you can see it has access to this file here. So I can directly from the Finder open my application like that. If I want to, I could actually say I want to make my application the default file handler for all kinds of PNGs. So you can see here, by default, PNGs for my system are opened with preview. I could, if I wanted to, select hello, my name is here, and even change it to all PNGs. I don't want this because obviously it doesn't really make sense, but you can see how powerful this is. If you have your own file type, like, I don't know, you have .example, you could say you want to make your progressive web app the default handler for .example files. So if someone double clicks a .example file, it would open right in your progressive web app. Super powerful feature. And for the last feature, I need to actually switch devices. So let me briefly do this. I have an Android phone that I have here. And let me connect this Android phone to my system. Connect and then play. And let's see what is happening. Yes, here we go. So now you can see this is my phone. I'm doing this so that you can see it more easily on the screens for the conference. So whatever I do on my phone here is streamed live to the application. And I can now actually open this PWA, which is JSConf -jp.glitch.me. Hopefully I don't make a typo. Yes, okay, this has worked. So this is the application running now on my phone. And let me go back to the editor. Here, the phone is here. Okay, so let's reload this application now. And now you can see I have a new button, Write Badge to NFC. But before I click this, let me show you the following. So I have, one sec. I have a couple of NFC tags here. I hope you can see them. Let me just take one of the NFC tags. So now I have just one. Let's try it again. So Okay, so now it is empty. If I go back to the application and I say I want to write to this tag, okay, now it has written to it. And if I now go to the tag and open it, you can see that now I've written application information from my app right onto this tag. So this is the Web NFC API. Let me show you how the Web NFC API works. If I go to NFC, you can see I get DOM references for button and card, which is some inner component of my business card here. I unhide the button, I attach a click listener to it, and I get access to the NDEF reader on my window object. And from there on, I can then write text to this NFC tag. First, I need the text, of course. So I take the inner text and replace all copy strings with nothing, so that I just essentially have the actual text of the business card, of the badge, and then I can write this text to the NFC chip by simply, or NFC tag, by simply calling ndef.write text. It's an async operation, and once it has succeeded, I draw my button, a little box around my button, and that's essentially it. And with that, I'm going to close this talk. Thank you very much for listening. You can see my contacts here. I'm Tomayak on Twitter, Developer Relations Engineer at Google. Thank you very much for having me. I hope you learned something. I hope this was fun. And with that, enjoy the rest of JSConf Japan. See you next time. Bye bye.